We're in our session 2, and it's Future-Proof Your Brand, Engaging Gen Z for Long-Term Loyalty. So our session is about its speed, action, drama. NASCAR has all the makings of being a compelling Gen Z brand. But while its audience has traditionally skewed older, that's starting to change. And so we're going to join Allyson Piatt, Director of Performance Marketing, in this fireside chat on NASCAR's journey to attract younger customers and younger audiences by creating emotional connections through exclusive experiences. So this session will discuss NASCAR's initiative to woo Gen Z and how they create engaging experiences from digital to racetrack and their playbook of engaging college students. So please welcome Bill Schneider, VP Product Marketing, SheerID, and Allyson Piatt, Director of Performance Marketing, NASCAR.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you out there. As was introduced here, my name is Bill Schneider. I head up product marketing at SheerID. We are an identity verification company for commerce brands, and brands will use us to protect exclusive offers and experiences. And so that's what we want to talk about today as it relates to the Gen Z audience in particular, as Gen Z has been a big topic at this conference already. How many of you were at the panel earlier today, the roundtable? Yeah, handful of you, yeah. And there were some really thoughtful responses there from the panelists around how they make their purchase decisions in terms of choosing brands that help them become their future selves. It's a very directed experience. Of course, we also know that Gen Z is very digitally native, but not digitally exclusive. Right? So that's a big component to it. And what we also heard there was that they are interested in value in stretching their dollar, but also looking for brands that support their values. And so I wanted to start there in this conversation, Allyson. Thank you for being here. And with NASCAR, obviously, super well-known brand, been in existence now for over 80 years, millions of fans, moving internationally. Tell us a little bit about NASCAR's journey in engaging Gen Z, because traditionally your fan experience, as we talked about in the intro, skews a little bit older. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I think when you think about a NASCAR fan, you probably picture somebody like my dad. And my dad is the reason I'm a NASCAR fan. And that's what was on TV on Sundays. And we would drive from where I'm from in Pittsburgh, ironically to where I live now in Charlotte for the race for the weekend. And as we look at growing a more diverse fan base, we're really looking at capturing everybody who is a NASCAR fan. And the reality is that what you think of immediately as your typical NASCAR fan is such a microcosm of a much larger group of people now. And so our fan base is growing and becoming more diverse, capturing those younger audiences in ways that I think sometimes surprise even us, that Gen Z audience is so fiercely loyal, but also so invested in community and in exclusive experiences, and really that ties all of our fans together. When you come to a NASCAR race, you're a part of the family, and so it's how do we make this younger audience feel welcome at our facilities, and how do we get them in the door so that they know what this experience is like, so that they become a fan for life, and a fan for life earlier in their lives so that we get to spend even more years enjoying the ride with them.
And so as you were looking at reaching the Gen Z audience, what were some of the motivations for doing that for NASCAR?
For sure. We've always had these college offers, and I fall on the end of a younger, maybe middle-aged millennial. So when I joined the company, they were really discount-based offers, and they were primarily speaking to your wallet. And as we have evolved those offers in the last couple of years to capture those Gen Zers who are falling into that college audience, it's been focused a lot more on meeting them where they are, and where they are is wanting something that's bringing all of their friends to the racetrack and bringing that party atmosphere and giving them something that is price conscious, but also something that they're not going to get anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. And I know, you mentioned meeting them where they are. The racetrack is obviously the classic NASCAR experience. I know you're also expanding into other areas as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
For sure. So we are really challenging ourselves. I come from a track background, and so butts and seats has always been my metric, but we are trying to challenge ourselves, and I am personally in my role in performance marketing, in focusing on engagement. So you might not come to the racetrack as your first intro to NASCAR, but you might use the NASCAR skins on Rocket League, or you might watch a race on TV. Next year we'll be streaming races for the first time ever. And so there are all these different avenues into our sports, joining Fan Rewards, our loyalty program, playing fantasy on the weekends. Gambling and gaming has become a huge entry point for folks who are brand new fans to us. And I think that's one that's also been really popular with that Gen Z audience that's old enough to gamble in their respective states.
Right, exactly. So there's a number of different ways in which you're trying to engage with them through different digital channels, in addition to kind of build the NASCAR brand and encourage them to come into the racetrack experience. And I know, in addition, you have something specific that you've built that's exclusive for college students. And I know you shared a couple of images with me, that we wanted to talk a little bit about with the group here, just so you can get an idea of what that exclusive experience looks like. So can you share what we're looking at here?
Yeah, for sure. It's bottom left for me. I hope it is for you guys too, but the big NASCAR icon with our trophy in the middle, that is probably my favorite college experience. That is the infield beach at Homestead Miami Speedway. When Bill and I were talking earlier, he was like, oh, it's an actual beach. And it is. So there's a body of water in the infield, which is the area inside the track at Homestead Miami Speedway. So that's roughly between turns 3 and 4. So the cars are going maybe 100 yards away from the edge of that beach there. And in that experience, you also have a grandstand ticket. So when the race starts, if they want to go up in the grandstands, they can, but a large number of them stay down on the beach. They've got race views down there, water sports, they can get in the water, lounge on the beach, there's some shade, a DJ, exclusive entertainment. Really probably the most unique one of these experiences that we have at any of our tracks. And in a market like Miami, where we can reach a younger demographic, and a demographic that really is a variant from what you would probably consider a typical NASCAR market, it is a huge boon to us to get to market that to college students and make sure that that package specifically is exclusively for them. The beach is an upsell to everybody else in the grandstands.
So a college student in this case, they have all of those different kind of experiences that are part of that, the DJ, the beach, the music, the cocktail bar you mentioned as well. And that's something unique and specific that they can take advantage of specifically for college students. Is that right?
The area has other avenues into it, but they receive it as part of their package. So for everybody else, it's an upsell, but for a college student, $25 is getting you not just a ticket to the race, but access to all of that and driver introduction. So when our drivers come out ahead of the race, you can be right up against the stage, things like that. So it's really almost an all-inclusive package.
Right.
It's one of the best ways to experience a NASCAR race.
So there's a kind of a reduced rate to get into the experience, but you have basically this premium experience that they can be a part of at the race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's a great point that I wanted to also share here with the group around the power of exclusive experiences, as we've done a lot of research around this topic. Recently, we polled 1,000 consumers in the US and the UK to understand what they were looking for from brands. And this is college students and young adults. These are students in the Gen Z cohort. And what we found there is that exclusive experiences, things that were specifically targeted to them, like a student discount, a student experience, just like you were talking about, Allyson, is a primary way in which they try new brands. And in many cases, if you are a fairly well-known brand, they'll search for your brand and look if there is an exclusive offer for them that will encourage them to give you an initial try, right? And that's where 84% have said they are more likely to buy from a brand that gives them an exclusive student offer. But that translates into future purchases as well. 73% also indicated that they feel more emotionally connected to a brand that provides them an exclusive student offer because it makes them feel appreciated and it makes them feel valued. And there was some really interesting research that was done by Forrester Consulting about a year ago that was looking at what are the main drivers to drive loyalty for different consumer populations. And those two attributes, having a feeling of appreciation and value from a brand were main drivers for loyalty, which also showed up in our survey data. So these types of exclusive experiences can really engender an interest in your brand and also drive a long-term loyalty with additional engagement after that initial purchase. So I wanted to ask you, Allyson, what have you seen with these programs that you've released with college students and how they've responded to that offer?
For sure, I think they fall into two camps. We met a young man when I was still working at Kansas Speedway, which was my job before I came to NASCAR proper, who was always a fan. And he was like, I use my college discount to buy tickets for as many of my buddies as I can get to come to the track. So I think when we speak to loyalty, word of mouth among our existing fans who just happen to be college students right now is huge for us. I think sometimes we always think about it as a vehicle for new, which is certainly a huge part of the program. But if we can use it as a vehicle for bringing a friend or a group of friends or your entire fraternity to the track, that's a huge win for us as well. And I think we really focus so much on the programs because getting them to the track to see what the experience is about is the biggest battle for us. Once you're there, as long as we give you a great guest experience, which our teams are always striving to do, you're gonna come back, and you're hopefully gonna come back even past your discount years, right? But making sure that that community aspect and that loyalty is inspired while we have them in that college window, so that when their ticket price goes up a little bit, when they age out of the programs, they keep coming back.
Yeah, and I saw a recent statistic that it's 5 times less expensive to acquire somebody that is under the age of 30 than over the age of 30, typically because they're still forming their brand relationships at that point in time. Which speaks to that point that you just mentioned there. So I wanted to also share with the audience here what this program looks like from a digital perspective. So this is essentially the landing page that you have for the college offer. Walk us through what are the main points of the page and how you built this, how you're messaging it.
For sure. For this one, we really want you to know what you're getting. This is that Homestead Miami Speedway experience that we talked about that is so incredibly unique. And so the graphics and the things that outline what's included in the experience are designed to catch your eye and make it very, very clear why you would want to take advantage of this. And then the copy there runs through the discount and the more price-conscious messaging. And I think the thing that we have focused on so much recently is the ease of online buying. So we do gate these offers. It's very, very important to us that there are fraud mitigation vehicles in place so that a broker isn't buying all of them and they never get into the hands of the intended targets. But that verification is going to lead you right into the buying flow. And so it's not jumping through hoops or things like that, because we know that these college students want an easy online buying process.
Yeah, so that verification experience is this form right here, right? So basically, in this case, the student provides a few pieces of information, basic information that they have and that they're aware of, like their name, their school, their date of birth. And this is where verification technology like SheerID comes into play to do a quick lookup to ensure that the person is an active student and they're eligible to receive the offer. So you mentioned this helps provide you with some assurance that it's going to eligible customers and not being abused. What kind of feedback have you gotten from students about this?
We almost never get concerns, especially for students, right? Military, every now and again, you get an older, less technologically savvy consumer going through this, but we almost never hear from college students that they have any problem with this. And I think kind of no news is good news from them, right? We see them at the track, so we know that it's working, and we're not getting inbound messaging that they're having any trouble with verifying. And I think on the rare occasions that that has crossed my desk, it's usually a little bit of a tire kicker of just, I still have a .edu email address, and I thought I would just try it. And then when I didn't get verified, I followed up with NASCAR, and when they started asking us to send documents, we never hear from them again.
Right, exactly. We got to watch out for those .edus. Yep. On the previous screen, I wanted to also point out, you messaged this as a premium experience. Now, oftentimes I think we, as in the industry, we talk about exclusive experiences, and that can have kind of a watered down meaning. I was wondering, was that purposeful to use that terminology for messaging this as a premium experience, or walk us through that?
I think as marketers, we're all probably a little guilty of overuse of exclusive, right? If everything's exclusive, nothing is. So I think the thought here is a premium experience, but for $25, which you can't beat, right? So this is something that if you don't fall into this college demographic is going to cost you not significantly more, but a decent amount. And so really hammering home what a great deal this is for our college students, and really putting a why behind wanting to take advantage of this.
Yeah. So, and the verification experience there also ensures that this is authentically going to the audience that it's intended to, right? So it has that benefit as well. So in marketing to college students to reach the Gen Z audience, what approaches did you use to drive traffic to the page?
We do a lot of identifying within our existing database. We actually find that the college segment is pretty willing to give up their email. It's getting them opted into SMS, where we are definitely putting more focus recently. But our data team works really, really hard to identify folks within our existing database. And then as they're signing up, either organically for our newsletters, joining sweeps, things like that. And then our teams at Track also do a lot of grassroots with the local colleges, so they maintain relationships there. So when I was at Kansas, we used our relationship with Coca-Cola as an inroad, and they helped us get flyers and things like that on Coke campuses. So a lot of it is on campus in one way or another, whether it's our groups team reaching out to sororities, fraternities, student clubs, things like that to get groups out to the track, or it is e-blasts through our connections to the track. We have internship programs at a handful of universities, so typically those interns will help us with some grassroots on-site marketing. And that word of mouth that we talked about is huge as well within our existing fan base, just making this easy to share with your friends and kind of get a gang together.
Got it, yeah. So are you doing much digital advertising on this just yet?
Not a ton. We struggle a little bit with our college audiences being so small in some of our markets that the Facebook matching doesn't always play nice with it. I think it's something that we are challenged to continue evolving on and looking for. But right now we typically work within our own data and then leads that come into the forums and retargeting that way.
And I imagine that the races are at the local level, so it makes sense to really focus in on that local campus experience.
For sure, and there are a handful of tracks that race over the summer, so focusing on college students who may be home for the summer. So that one's a little bit of a challenge for us because the information we have about you might be that you go to the University of Alabama, so it's a little bit harder for us to match you up to the fact that Michigan's racing in August. But it's something that we strive for Michigan and Richmond specifically. Those races happen in July and August this upcoming summer, and they have a decent amount of these college tickets sold, so something's working.
Something's working, that's good. I know you also have these exclusive experiences for for other communities as well. Can you tell us a little bit about which communities and how you, what the strategy is behind that?
Yeah, our biggest probably special segment is in our military offers. So every single one of our tracks has a military offer. The vast majority of them are a discount, but A handful of tracks, Kansas Speedway being one of them, offers instead a free pre-race pass. So what I talked about being included in the Homestead Miami offer with driver introductions, a pre-race concert, access to pit road before the cars are gridded, you can walk on the track, sign the start-finish line. It's a really, really great experience. Military members can get verified and take advantage of that completely free. It usually costs $75 as an add-on on top of your ticket.
That's so cool, being right there on the pit. Okay, great. So we are getting close to wrapping up. One thing I just wanted to highlight here, just our quick takeaways, as we think about Gen Z, a lot of information out here at the conference. Gen Z loves exclusive experiences. As we've seen from our research, it is a primary way in which they're finding new brands. We've heard your experience here at NASCAR as these college programs and young adult programs can help bring in that Gen Z audience. Exclusive experiences, they catalyze loyalty because they help create this emotional connection with the brand, helps them show that the brand appreciates and values their patronage, their interest in the brand. And then finally, in order to make these exclusive experiences really matter, verification technology is really a requirement. It protects any margin erosion that you might have from people trying to game the system and claim the reward when they are not eligible. But more importantly, it demonstrates that this offer is authentically for them. And that helps drive higher engagement and also pass that word of mouth effect. So we're up at time. Thank you so much for your listening.